Good morning and welcome in to myself. John, if you can hear me out there somewhere, good morning to you and Merry Christmas. They send a note here checking up on Reggie. Well, brother, I hope me and you aren't the only ones here today. Well, Tim, we might be. Well, I hope not. It'd be more fun if we had to talk to. Yeah, I know what you mean. But you and I keep each other entertained a lot, so we'll be all right. Now, it says there's two people watching me, but I bet there's not. Will somebody tell me why that does that? Car key might be with us. Teddy Carroll might be here. How about now? I don't see any chat. What happened to my chat? There it is. No, I was talking to myself, Carol. Well, I was talking to him too, but I was talking to myself. Why can I not see my hand? How are you this morning? Okay, sharing me out. Well, thank you. You want to come up here and say good morning? Hmm. I guess not. He didn't even flinch. I have running Reggie updates here. Let me see what's going. Oh, she said he wanted to go up and down the stairs this morning. He seemed to have a lot more energy. Pain might be wearing off. I need to turn the echo machine off, don't I? There. Yeah, he does. He's wore plumb out, Carol. He got in trouble this morning, just a little bit. I came down here to, get ready for this, and I found my trash can overturned, which is one of his favorite things to do. And he likes to dig out everything he can get out to see what's in the bottom of the trash can. So I came down here and there was paper in the floor and some old pizza crust I'd thrown in there, which is probably why he was digging. So I guess that's my fault. Pretty sure that's how he would look at it. So how's Michigan this morning? I bet you're warmer than we are right now. Well, I shouldn't say. I mean, it's probably gone up a degree or two, so I don't know that. The well, maybe not. Actually, looks like it's gone down. You're wondering why Reggie's original family bothered to get him chipped. Doesn't seem like they cared much. No, they don't. You know, I've wondered about that, Carol. They obviously didn't care. I'm wondering if they maybe got him at the shelter or adopted him, and maybe that was part of the deal. He was chipped already, or had to be chipped when they picked him up. Pretty sure they just soon it hadn't been. Then we couldn't have found them. And I don't know who they are or where they live. We're at 2 degrees with a minus 11 wind chill. Well, my phone says that the airport says, I just had that pulled up, that it's 4 here. But I don't know what the wind chill is. So you're not. I was talking to somebody last night. Or maybe I was on a different. Yeah, well, I was on Garrett's chat or Michelle and Garrett's and whatnot. And feels like minus 6 here. We're supposed to get up to 23 today, though. So if we do, we'll be a heat wave. Anyway, I was talking to somebody last night, and it was colder here than it was several places north of us. Yeah, we had a bit of wind. I went out just for a few minutes this morning. First time I've been out of the house in a couple of days, and I didn't realize how hard the wind had blown here. I saw, things like basketball goals tipped over in people's driveways and stuff like that. Hey, good morning, Dean. Merry Christmas Eve to you too, sir. Carol and I were discussing weather and wind chills and Arctic type temperatures. Carol, we haven't had one here that I'm aware of, but this area has had. We've been warning about rolling blackouts because of how cold it is and the sudden demand on the system, the electrical grid here. And I've lived, in this valley most of my life or off and on, and I never remember that happening before. We're sunny and a balmy 36 in sunny Florida. Well, I don't know what you're complaining about then, because you're about 30 degrees warmer than either one of us. Anyway, and I don't really understand that. That's the agency that I used to work for, and I'm really wondering why all of a sudden they're having that kind of an issue when we've never had that issue before here. And it has been this cold before. It's been a while, I'll admit that, but I suppose the infrastructure could have grown that much, but they were supposed to be adding on and working, with the grid to make sure that power shortage around here wasn't really an issue. So that was a new one on me. Not complaining necessarily, but I also not going outside either. Okay, Dean, I'll give you that. There's no need pushing things. I've been outside. I went out in my t-shirt sleeves. I guess people think I'm crazy, but I think it was 5 when I went out this morning. What I was going to say was, yeah, 36. What I was going to say, it's cold down there though. I experienced a rolling blackout though when I went over by the interstate. I went and I was going to get a biscuit this morning or something for breakfast. So Brenda didn't, feel obligated to hop up and fix me anything. And when I pulled into the McDonald's, they were out. They had to turn me away because they were experiencing a blackout or had just had one and it was coming back up. So I went down to the nearby Wendy's and they were kind of going through the same thing. So, which they were just, 100 yards apart. But I thought I'd try it. You never know around here if people are on the same grid or not. We can have one side of the street out and the other side be working. But this is my first experience with rolling blackouts in this country, this area of the country that I can remember anyway. Dean, you've been down there most of your life. Have you ever seen it snow in Oviedo? Correct me if I'm not pronouncing that right. I mean, I know it snowed in northern Florida a few times, not very often, but a few times. We had just a sprinkling outside this morning blowing around the road. It was just very, very light and very dry and really not much of it. Didn't really amount to anything. And Snow doesn't count, and other Disney World snow does not count. Well, that's a good question, Carol. Dean, you go first. I'm actually amazed my wife isn't on yet. She shut the door on me, so she wouldn't hear me anyway. I've traveled there in November for the PA and Mass. Definitely not in Florida. Well, if I recall correctly, aren't your family from Massachusetts or originally or somewhere up that way? I think you told me once you've been down there since you were young, but well, while he's doing that, Carol, I'll just go ahead and talk. We're not going to do much. Supposed to go over to Jennifer's house this evening for dinner and probably gift exchange, and then that's it. I mean, we're coming back home, and we're not planning on anything tomorrow because they both got in-law type family events. So I think they're going to do all that tomorrow, and we're okay with going over to their house tonight. Now they could come over tomorrow if they wanted to. I'm trying to get one of my son-in-laws to bring me some firewood this winter, just so I can have a fire downstairs once in a while. Oh, I bet it was. I bet that was pretty, Dean. Now they have snow in Yosemite area, I'm sure. Good morning, Diana. Merry Christmas to you. Oh. And where's that bothersome husband of yours at? Church this afternoon, party tonight, Christmas dinner tomorrow afternoon. Well, you got a busy schedule then. Hey, Tony, good morning. Merry Christmas. How's Northern Ohio? or whatever part of Ohio. I think it's northern. He's still sleeping. Oh my goodness. I slept pretty good last night for a change. I hadn't slept good in several nights, but I probably could have slept late this morning myself. Lazy, yeah, that's what I thought. It's cold like the rest of the country. Well, that's true. Carol and I were comparing temps as we usually do on Saturday morning, and I think we're showing about 4 degrees right now at the airport, which is probably a little bit warmer than that here. And I'm sorry to hear that, Diana, but I know I've been there, done that. I hadn't slept very good lately either, but last night was a little better. Anyway, I think I think she had me beat by a couple degrees. What is Carol doing? We're cleaning and trying to find a store that isn't out of potatoes. Oh my gosh. If I'd known, Carol, we could have sent you some taters. The Spud line. Probably church this evening if the roads are okay. Then having everyone here tomorrow afternoon. Wow, that'll be a house full, right? Oh man, minus 15. Okay, show off. You win. So far, you got us all beat. Sending virtual potatoes. Well, you know what's the really good thing about virtual potatoes, though, Dean? No carbohydrates. Top Gun Maverick. Morning, Space Mountain Dave. Merry Christmas. Or Merry Christmas Eve, whichever you prefer, but close enough. I don't know where my compatriot's at this morning. I talked to him yesterday and he was planning on being here. Only virtual carbohydrates. That's right. But, I guess that'd be true, Dean, but the good thing about those is they're not, they're not fattening whatsoever. You can eat all the virtual potatoes you want and never gain a pound. Well, there is Mike Cabral. We heard a rumor that somebody said that Lazy Mike was still in bed. Don't know who that was, though. Dean, did you call him Lazy Mike? Oh, yeah, Dave. What's the... Brenda? Is Brenda in here? Oh, she is in here. Oh, she said veritable. I think she meant virtual potatoes also, Carol. You should have enough pretty soon, Carol, to do about whatever you need to do. Oh, now I didn't say her. Did anybody mention her? Mike. So quick to jump to the conclusions. Diana, I won't tell him it was you. I bet this is an interesting morning at Disney World. Thinking about it a minute. We've been there for Christmas a couple of times, and we've been there in December, and it got chilly a few times. I don't know if it was ever 36. I know it got down in the 40s one time, and I remember we had to buy sweatshirts for the kids because they were about to freeze to death. You think that someone accidentally set our thermometer in the kitchen to US Celsius, which I don't know how to read, so it looks like very warm in the house? I didn't think I did, but I'll check it. Remind me later to do that. Carol should be able to at least virtually do anything. Now you've got lots of virtual potatoes, Carol. Are you going to do just mashed potatoes, or are you doing a potato salad and mashed potatoes? We'll get you some more if you need more. I mean, I'm looking at what Dean sent and what Brenda sent. I'm thinking by now you ought to be in the 10-pound range. Okay, I missed something. What did Dave say? I missed it, Dave. I apologize. Oh wow, Dave. Well, sorry to hear that. I hope you get some good news soon. Oh, there you go, Carol. That ought to put you over the top. Well, Dean's getting real generous. Does anybody else at your house need potatoes, Dean? You shouldn't send them all up there. Your mom or you or somebody might need them to cook with this weekend. Oh, we're in a potato war. Now Dean's sending he's sending donuts for dessert. Michael appreciate that, Dean. Donuts. Mike, I got 2 maple ice donuts just for you this morning. Oh, and Dave's got some kind of pie and coffee. That's even better. Well, Brenda, that's what you get for sending some yourself. You got involved. What did Brenda say? Oh, stuffed baked potatoes. And Dean sent some of his precious turkey legs. We're all about ready. How about some green beans or something like that, or some broccoli or something, Dean? Oh yeah, we are having chicken and dumplings tonight. That's right. I forgot about that. And ham. I think somebody's bringing a ham. You don't like maple? Well, that's okay if you don't like Tim Hortons, but how can you be a Canadian and not like maple? I mean, I thought that was like you guys got that intravenously when you were born, so that it was always there. So you didn't mean cheese bowl, guys. She meant cheese ball. That's a good point, Carol. I have a bottle of I have a special bottle here beside me that I got from my buddy Phil, Carol. We could just pop it open and tell him that it was a sample bottle that I got. Dean, I can't see all that. What all you got? Oh, that's beer and champagne or beer and wine or something. Gotcha. Clinking the glasses. Cheers. Oh, like some cheesecake now. See, I never could see wasting good pie for a pie bite, though, Carol. I mean, I'd much rather eat the pies, sling it in somebody's face. And see, Dave, I wasn't sure what kind of pies were those. Hang on a minute, guys. Be right back. Oh, damn it. I might have to change cushions today. Let's see if this helps. Oh, Diane, I didn't mean to leave your -15 up there so long. And I'll turn this back on so I'm not just sitting here incognito. Oh, cherry cheesecake, Carol. That's Brenda's favorite, probably. What's Brenda sending? Make it a coconut pie and I will stand in the middle. Oh, you guys, about everybody in here has been to Disney World and probably maybe eaten at Ohana's. They used to have a really good little coconut cream pie. I think that's where we got it. Pretty sure it was. Man, that was good. It was, of course, toasted on the top, but the coconut cream in the middle was just to die for. Of course, just I always thought about everything in there was. That's true. That's true, Diana. They might send you things like heated blankets or hot thermoses full of coffee, fresh donuts from Krispy Kreme. Although I don't know if the hot light would stay on all the way to Ohio. I mean Canada. That you thought Herbie might like for Christmas. She's named one of her hermit crabs in the saltwater tank, Herbie. I told her we needed to paint number 53 on the. Hey, Tina. Good morning, ma'am. Are you cold this morning? Oh, and Merry Christmas. Language, darling. Did I say something? Sorry. I put my microphone closer down here. You guys can probably hear every grunt and groan I make now. I just wanted to see if it was any different this morning. I've been leaving it sitting on top of my desk, and everybody says it's been fine. Now I moved it down here to see if it was any better, but if it doesn't make any difference, I'm going to put it back up there. Oh, the hounds, the hounds. They were ready to come in before we got back to the door. Back in the door. Funny how that works sometimes. Dogs ain't plumb stupid. Oh, I apologize. I didn't mute. I only muted my camera. Sorry, Teddy. You got to watch your language, buddy. I told you not while we're on the air. Oh, there's a warm spot. There's a warm spot. Well, maybe that it probably explains it. Morgan don't want to stay out any longer than he has to. I'm going to start running one of those little things below at the bottom of my screen, Carol, like they do on the movie, strong language, sexual content. What is it, Brenda? They say on Midsummer, sensual images, sexual content, smoking, drinking, and something else. All right, Dean, wade right in. She's thinking it's warmer in the front. She may be thinking the snow's not as deep in the front. Yeah, I've learned a lot since meeting Mike and Diana. I didn't know how hard deep snow was on Basset Hounds. You said the C word, Tina. He ain't coming up there. Dean's already told us he don't do cold. It's 36 in Florida and he still ain't going outside. You're probably right, Carol. I should have thought of that sooner. Brenda and I watched, I don't know if you guys watch any British TV, but she's got me hooked on watching like British detective shows or, crime periodicals, whatever it is they call them. And we're always laughing because they put up all these things before each show. And it's stuff we don't put up warnings very often. And two, it's for things like drinking and smoking, and because they do all that on British TV still, apparently. Or if they don't do it now, they certainly did a couple years ago. Well, maybe it feels warmer, Tina. If she can soak up just a tiny bit of sunshine, maybe that does it for her. I had I had a new picture of Reggie, but I don't know if I've got that available or not. Let me look here. Hang on a minute. He's supposed to be doing better this morning. I sent Julie, his new forever mom, a text earlier, and she said that he was feeling much better. He seemed to be feeling better. He's up and around this morning. He'd been up and down the steps a couple of times, which is, if I was up and down the steps a couple of times, Brenda would say I was healed. Maybe I don't have a picture. I thought I had a picture of him here. I guess I don't. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, I thought I started a Reggie folder, but I guess I didn't. Well, if I can get it off my phone here after a while, you know what? Maybe I can do that while we're talking. Sensual, beautiful, strong language. Yeah, that kind of talk. But tell me she can lay on a nice warm couch or recliner here in the house in the sun. It's a lot warmer inside. That's a very good point. Well, that's what I was just talking about, Mike. He seems to be recovering well. It's amazing. You talk about amputating a leg, and you know how difficult that can be for a human, but for an animal, they seem to adjust to it pretty quickly. And of course, he was already walking around on 3, and so now he's not having to drag that 3rd one or that 4th one, and that's probably a lot easier on him. Let's see what Mike's talking about Christmas presents here. Yeah, Mike. Well, sorry, buddy. It had to come soon. You had to find out sooner or later. Cats are pretty resilient. I'm sure he'll be fine. It's probably no less painful than that. Well, yeah, I don't think so either, Tina. I mean, he's already bouncing around without it, so they seem to be able to adjust their balance, and I'd say pretty soon he'll be just getting around pretty much like any other cat. I've seen Dr. Pole do it a lot of times on TV. And Tater, the cat that they keep in their house or the vet clinic, you never know he was a 3-legged cat if you didn't know it. Yes, thank you everyone who's donated. I never thought I'd probably do something like that, but I just did. This one made me mad. It bothered me a lot that it happened. He was a really sweet cat. He was always super friendly, and to just be put out and kicked out on the street really made me mad. Well, Mike, like I said, I hate you had to wait this late in life to find out, buddy. We used to wrap some. I think Brenda used to wrap up a couple for one of our dogs, or maybe a couple of them when we had dogs. And some of them like to tear them open, some don't. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Kishu, the what's his name on the internet is the stunt dog or something like that. But he's a husky and he loves to rip open presents. He gets stuff in the mail all the time, and she lets him tear open his packages. He loves it. Ah, good point, Brenda. That could be the case. Good morning. Good morning, Francisco. And Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas Eve to you too. Oh. Hey, what, guys? Off with the camera, and I'll try not to. Teddy, no cussing, okay? I gotta stand up for a minute. Oh, but I'll keep talking and reading chat. Oh. Well, I get your point there, Tina. You're avoiding at least cleaning up one of the messes. I guess I can't say that I blame you for that. Oh, wow. Bear with me a minute, guys. I'm going to have to go get a different cushion. All right, we'll see if this is better. Wow, Mike, does Diana let you tell people that out online like that? You're female? I wouldn't dare talk about Brenda that way. Speaking of Brenda, look at what she used to do. She was quite the devil. We won't tell anybody. Except now, that's why I keep your presents locked up in the safe until the last minute because I don't trust you. I mean, once you've told me, she told me about that a long time ago, so I've been very, very careful about that for a long time. I tell you what, I used to enjoy doing. They're not on here, so I can tell this story. But when we back in the day when we went to Disney for Christmas, I would always take great pride in figuring out a way to sneak their gifts to Florida if we were going to actually be there on Christmas. And we'd usually celebrate Christmas in our room and just sometimes just hang out at the hotel because crowds would get so bad for Christmas. But as far as I know, I never got caught. Now, if the girls caught me, they didn't ever tell me. Brenda didn't tell me. But I used to find ways to hide them when we had a full size conversion van for a while, and I did all the loading, so I'd hide things underneath other things and put things under the sofa and tie things up on the rooftop. Just find ways to be sneaky about putting stuff up. And like I said, I don't think I ever got caught. Does the mail still deliver in the U.S. today and tomorrow? They were today. I, I, yeah, I don't think tomorrow either, but I'm not positive about that. Well, I get that, Carol. I mean, our kids used to, our four leggers and our two legged kids got something. And what do people put in stockings these days? I grew up with parents who grew up in the country, and had both lived through the part of the depression, but we still got an apple or orange or that kind of stuff in our stockings for a long. Now there might be something else in there too, but I still got fruit in my stocking. Yeah, I wouldn't think so either, Tina. And I'd say they're off Monday too, actually, unless because of delays and shipping and all that, and maybe they're working Monday, but ordinarily they'd be off. I know I would have been off Monday if I was still working. Good morning and Merry Christmas to you, Kay Atwood. Welcome. Always a pleasure. Mike, when Diana puts your donuts down in your stocking, do you have to pick off the lint and the fuzzy bits and stuff off the donuts before you eat them, or you just go for it? Kind of off topic. Let's see here. We have a good video of our son giving Santa Claus heck for leaving his dirty footprints in our house. That's excellent. That's cool. Our human stockings, gum, candy, scratch off lottery ticket. That's so funny, Carol, because Brenda started doing that too. She started putting them in around here a few years ago just because once we got scratch off. That's the only time we ever buy any lottery tickets. Oh, he just eats the whole stocking, Diana. Mike, I'm not, you might want to back off that, buddy. Just a little bit. I don't think so either, Carol. I think that, Tina, I think that's close enough not to count as a squirrel today. He just goes with the lint on the donuts. I'm okay with that. I don't let donuts go to waste. That's my kind of man. Mike. Oh, has anybody? Well, I don't guess most of you. Has anybody seen Ian by any chance lately? Or in any other chats. I haven't seen Ian in here in a couple of weeks. At least it doesn't seem like I have. I hope they're okay down there. Tell you what, Carol and Tina, I'll go along with being a chipmunk as long as it's Chip or Dale. Wait a minute, I missed something, Diana. Why do the neighbors think you're nuts? Oh, I did. I would put on Mike's big boots, go outside at 2 a.m. in my bathrobe and a glass of wine and get them dirty. Then I'd walk from the fireplace to the tree. Oh, that's rich. I love that, Diana. That's cool. We never had snow. I don't know if our kids ever had a white Christmas. Maybe once, but that's cool. Well, I know I haven't seen him, Mike. I just wondered if anybody else had. I hope they're okay. I haven't. It's kind of unusual not to see him. Got to be Chip. Okay. Well, so have I, Carol. That's why I thought maybe somebody else might have seen him. But I just Mark asked about him too the other day because he hadn't seen him when he's been in chat. Um, and he's missing in action today. I said I talked to him yesterday, and he thought he'd be here this morning, so something might have happened. I hope he's not sick. There's a lot of sickness going around in his part of Wyoming. All his extended family's all been sick in the last week or so. There you go, Diana. There's the proofs in the or Carol. There's proofs in the pudding right there. You didn't buy 30 for each of us. You bought 30 altogether. You better not have bought 30 for each of us. That's a lot of scratch offs. Carol, I don't know. I don't know about that. Santa Claus rarely left any crumbs at this house, unless somehow he got left Fig Newtons or Oreos or something he didn't really like that much. Did you guys hear about, speaking of lotto tickets and Christmas presents? Was it on the news, or is somebody around here talking about that? They were doing a white elephant or whatever other names they've come up for the Christmas swap that people do, for business lunches and for their offices and whatnot. And somebody put a scratch off, and somebody picked that, and they ended up scratching it off and won like $175,000 or something. All the fellas at work are all sick with their extended family. I was so surprised to see how many are sick during the last couple of weeks. Well, apparently that's the way it is in a few other places right now too. Well, that's good of you, Diana, and a shame. But I'm glad that was the. I think that's great that you want to go out of your way to make sure that he has a memorable Christmas. I'll have to admit, other than being probably worn out when Christmas was over, I have to admit I grew up enjoying Christmas a lot. We always we traveled. We always traveled on Christmas Day. Now, when I say travel, not in today's sense of the word, but we traveled from our house, wherever we happened to live at that time, within our end of the state, to Greenville, Tennessee, where my well, actually, we'd go to near Kingsport, Tennessee. That's where my mom's family lived, and we'd visit with cousins and uncles and aunts, and do a minor bit of Christmas present swapping, and probably have lunch. And then we would drive from there over to my dad's parents' house, and we'd have a huge gathering over there, all the aunts and uncles and grandchildren, which there were more of us over there. And both of them came from large families, but there would be more at the Pruitt's house than the Sensaballs. And so we'd spend a big day there and with family and eating and watching football if there was any, or usually some kind of sports going on in one room, and the ladies getting caught up on all the news and everything else in the other room. And which growing up, I never thought about that, but that's pretty much how it was. The women were sitting around the kitchen table talking, and the men were usually in the living room, which was usually about 20 degrees too hot for me, and watching football or some kind of sports. And then we'd finally go limping home after some time in the, well, not too late back then, probably 9 or 10 o'clock, but that was late for us to be out on the road. And I can remember when I thought that was terribly late to be out. And then I used to work night shift and come home at 1 or 2 in the morning. What was Tina saying? I find that happens a lot. Sadness in our lives makes us make up for with our families. Yeah, it is bittersweet, Tina, but I think you're right. I think a lot of people do that. I find it hard to. I think it's sad when one of the parents, for some reason, feels like they had it bad, so by God, their kids ought to have it bad too. I think that's a shame. Welcome back, Dean. Man, did you miss out? We were telling family secrets. We've had cookie recipes. We've all exchanged gifts, drew names, all that kind of stuff since you've been gone. Nothing personal. We just, once we quit throwing all the potatoes, we just thought we'd do something else. So, what kind of things did other people do growing up as on Christmas? Anybody else want to share anything? Brenda, I don't think you guys traveled so much till you met me, did you? At some point in Brenda's life, she started traveling with me on Christmas, and her life was never the same after that. Yeah, Carol, they do, and that's a shame because I think most people want their kids to grow up, having it better than they had it. People used to say that a lot, but I think especially that was true for things like um, Christmas celebrations and that sort of thing. And why perpetuate the bad? I'd much rather start good and try to do something better. Of course, I'll also admit that all that traveling, when our kids got to a certain age, we tried to spend as much time not traveling with them as we could. Even if we were on a Disney trip, we didn't. That's why we would stay in the hotel most of the time and just let the girls enjoy whatever gifts they got and just lounge some and not, always be rush, rush, rush. But we didn't have to get in the car and travel to, 4 different households to exchange gifts. And we did that for a while after we got married. Her parents' house, my parents' house, my grandparents' house, my mom's. No, maybe not so much my mom's side, but dad's. Oh wow, that's cruel, Dean or Mike. A shower for a present. That just doesn't seem like a fair exchange. What's Tina saying here? She grew up halfway between where my dad grew up in Mass and where my mom grew up in PA, so we never saw extended family in the winter. Went to church, opened our presents, and visited with friends. Well, I'll have to admit, Brendan, I met at church. I was in a nativity scene way back when. I don't remember if I was a wise man or what. What was I? I think I was one of the 3 wise men. Can whoever picked my name please send me heat? How do you think we should package that, Diane? I got to think about that for a minute. I guess you are, Diana. I guess you are. I guess you could always wrap up some newspapers, Tina, and send them to her. And, roll them up real tight like a paper log, and she could burn that in the fireplace. That would give her some heat. Yeah, I'd like to see some of that too, Carol. If I wouldn't really mind having world peace and some chocolate, but yeah, I could do without the chocolate probably. Well, where are you going? What woke you up? I don't know what happened there, but he was down off the chair, awake and down off the chair in a flash there. Tina, that's mean. But what are you going to do about it these days? Oh, You sent her a beach picture, Brenda. I couldn't see that on this screen. Oh, my red-nosed bear. Yeah, I had ho 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 on there, and I think that was from Tuesday night, and or not Tuesday night, Thursday night. So I changed it to red-nosed bear. What's out there, bud? I have my curtains drawn. I have really heavy blackout type curtains down here on the door, so I drew them to keep some of the heat in this morning, and so he couldn't see anything. He must have heard something, but he jumped out of that chair and went running over there. Now he's got the curtains open, and he's focused on something. Could be a chipmunk. He doesn't pay that much attention to gray squirrels anymore. Well, maybe we could get her a whole case of that military surplus canned heat, and they could burn that up. They could light that off. That's it, Tina Sternos. I can remember when I had somebody thought it'd be a good idea. We could thought it would be a cool idea or an easy way to carry, something to cook on in Boy Scouts if we had sterno. So a couple of us bought these little sterno stoves that were just little fold out things and put a can in there and light it. Really good idea, except that it takes forever to boil water over one of those things. It wasn't all that good an idea. Okay for warming stuff up, but it's not good for cooking on, I discovered. Or better yet, maybe Diana, maybe you could get some C4 plastic explosives. My understanding is you can break that in chunks and burn it. I knew Vietnam vets that said they used to heat their rations up that way. Just break a little brick of it off and light it. I guess that's why you ended up going with us so much, Brenda. Actually, raise your hand if you remember that Canned Heat. There was a rock and roll band called Canned Heat back in the 60s and 70s. I don't know if they're still out there somewhere or not. Canned Heat. Well, I know it sounds dangerous, Diana, but to light it like that, suppose it just burns. I had a friend of mine that was in the Marines. He was an engineer, did landmines and that kind of stuff, or removed them. And he said they used to use little chunks of C4. If you light it like that in the open, it just burns off like sterno, except hotter. If you compress it at all, though, and set it off with a detonator or something, then it's a whole nother story. Well, let's see here, Carol. Let me see if I can pull up songs by Canned Heat. If we remember anything, Canned Heat. On the Road Again. No, yeah, that was by them. Boogie Chillin' #2, Christmas Blues. Going Up the Country. Now that's one I remember. I don't remember Amphetamine Annie. And then there's the Fried Hockey Boogie. Yeah, that's the only ones I see. Here's the top 10 songs of Canned Heat. Long Way from LA, Poor Moon, Dust My Dust My Broom, Amphetamine Annie was number 7. Parthenogenesis. Let's Work Together. Rolling and a Rumbling. No, Rolling and Tumbling. On the Road Again. Here, I thought that was always just a Willie Nelson thing. Fried Hockey Boogie and Going Up Country. That was their top 10. Let's see. Can you guys hear that at all? I'm gonna show this and take my chances on getting in trouble. If I can figure out a way to do it. Sit back and enjoy this little number by Canned Heat. I know some of you are going to remember this. Still can't hear it? Well. Okay, well, I don't know why. That's weird. All right, sorry about that. Classic little, classic, a classic little hit there. That was by the Canned Heat. Probably a good thing. It might be, Tina. It's true. I got to enjoy it anyway. I have a new Christmas album I was listening to earlier, and I didn't wish I could figure out how to put music with some of my other stuff, but I don't know how many of you know who Lindsey Sterling is. She plays fiddle, violin. Can you get out, buddy? Hang on, guys. I got one wanting to go out. He might need to go potty. I'll be right back. You need to go out? Come on. Come on, I'll open the door for you. Your mom just got it shut tight this time. If you can't open it, you usually pull it right open. Here you go, bud. get by. Come on out. He can push the door up and get back in. That's how my mom was, though, Tina and Carolyn. She didn't want Brenda to be left out. She didn't want anybody to be left out. It may sound strange, but I think after we dated for a couple of years, I think Mom just went ahead and accepted that Brenda was probably going to be around for a while and just sort of took her on into the family. Wasn't allowed to come spend the night or anything like that, mind you, but what time is it? I can't see my clock. A few more minutes, guys. Now I'm going to give up the ghost, I think. I'm glad everybody made it in today. I wish Mark had made it. And I hope if anybody sees Ian, I'd appreciate it if you'd, give us a report, make sure he's okay. Why not which? I'm just gonna wait. I'm hang around here too. Teddy may come back in, and he might want to get up here and talk, or at least look in and say hi for a minute. I'm sorry about this. I did this. I wasn't trying to wave goodbye. I was trying to see if I had my camera set to where my hand was on the correct side for me. Well, I'm going to hope that's a good thing, Brenda. I guess that could be both ways, but I think it worked out okay. Tina says her in-laws are the same. Thank God too, because my mother-in-law passed a year before we got married, and my father-in-law died 6 months after we got married. Oh my goodness, Tina, that's rough. That'd be hard on Chuck. Oh well, I no reason why she shouldn't, Tina. She just like she said, she just sort of took her in like her daughter, and after that, she was just part of the family. Brenda and I got a Christmas card the other day. One day last week, and thanks everybody who sent cards this year, by the way. We got a Christmas card. We were married on the 23rd of December. So yesterday was our anniversary. And it was our 45th anniversary. And 45 years ago yesterday, the pastor who married us and his wife, who was also in our wedding, played the music, sent us a Christmas card. And I think we've been exchanging Christmas cards with them just about every year since we got married. And I know Brenda told him one time that I guess he tied a pretty good knot because it's held all this time. And, I guess it has. Mike, I don't know. I bet you hadn't gotten the one I sent you because I'm not sure I did yet. I was gathering up some more addresses. I was going to send some more out. I actually was talking the other day, and I was thinking about just sending New Year's cards out this year, and that way the postman wouldn't have to carry all mine with everybody else's. But we did send out a few. But thank you, Carol and Diana and Mike and Tina. We've been together. We've actually been married 45 years and been together 51 now. So we've been together quite a long time. Yes, she did. I'd forgotten about that, Brenda, but the part about getting her to the wedding, I probably shouldn't tell this out loud now. Well, it won't matter. It's just where I came from. The only good suit I had when my grandmother passed away, and she asked me to be, they'd asked me to be a pallbearer, was the suit I just bought to get married in. So I actually wore it to my grandmother's funeral before I wore it to my wedding. Now, some people might have said that's a bad omen, but like I said, it's held this long. What's our secret, Mike? We actually live in separate houses in other towns, so we don't hardly ever see each other. Yeah, lots and lots of compromise. And trust me, she's done most of the compromising. I must admit. We just had a discussion about that the other night. All my friends thought I had the best wife ever because I could pretty much do what I pleased. If when we had work situations, or if somebody wanted to go somewhere, I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time out drinking and partying with the boys, not that kind of stuff, or playing pool. But if we were doing something in the middle of the week that was related to some of my work friends, and I worked some really weird shifts too. We got to go, and everybody thought I just had the best wife ever. And I think I now realize just how much I took that for granted. So, to my lovely bride, I owe an apology for that. But I've tried to make it up best I could. She did, Tina. I'm quite sure she was there. And I never knew my grandmother. I never knew. Well, we were 20 or 21 when we got married, and or almost 21. And I never saw my grandmother walk. She was always, she had diabetes, and she had rheumatoid arthritis really bad. And she had been a school teacher most of her life, and was always bedridden. And she had, I'll never forget, some of you other folks in here will know what I'm talking about. Some of you may not, but if you remember the television show Ironsides that had Raymond Burr in it, something Raymond Burr did after Perry Mason, he had a special wheelchair that the arms would fold down, and he could slide off his bed and get in the wheelchair. Well, she watched Ironsides. Of course, that was the only channel that she could get back then. And she decided she needed one of those wheelchairs, so she started writing letters, and she by God got one, so she could slide off her bed some and get in a wheelchair. Oh, Tina, absolutely 2 TVs. That works too, Carol. We did that for a long time, I'm afraid. For years and years, I worked night shift or I worked weekends. So I was always home when Brenda and the girls were going to school, or they'd be in bed by the time I got home. Or, of course, we were younger back then, but still. You remember how easy some things were when you were younger, and you just went 24/7 seems like, and maybe picked up a couple hours sleep here and there, and you just went on fine. I can't do that anymore. As my good friend Steve Cottrell says, getting old ain't for wimps. Oh no, Mike. Oh, I'm going to put that up for everybody to see now. My question, that's why the dogs get more gifts. That's exactly right. Mike, I don't think I'd have said that out loud, buddy. There's a secret. Well, that's another secret to staying married a long time. Either sneak into her date book and look, or write that down somewhere so you can remember it. Mike, I'd be careful. If you're not sure about those dates and times, I'd just let it ride, brother. No, I already put that up there, didn't I? Well, that explains a lot, Mike. I understand why you have to go get your own donuts, and why the dogs get all the presents first, or the most presents. Hey, buddy, you coming back? You want to say bye before we go off today? Come here. What? That bye? Come here. Come over here in your chair. Come here. Come here. Hop up. Now, there you go. Say hi to Miss Carol. Say Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Say, I'm a good boy. Just ask my daddy. Yep, the secret's out of the bag, Mike, and now too many people have heard it. You can't deny it now. You could always say you were asleep and don't remember doing it, but not sure that you'd get by with that either. You want to come up here and say hi? Hmm? What? Oh my goodness, that true? You're a mess, aren't you? Hmm. Good kisses. Good ear kisses, buddy. Yes, she would, Brenda. That's very true. My grandmother did not hesitate when it came to writing her local congressman or governor or the president or whoever. She would write a letter, and there were several things that she acquired through that letter writing campaign of hers. So true, Tina. So true. Uh, my oldest uncle, to get to my grandmother's house, we had to go up a pretty steep hill, cross over a real defined, acute top of the hill angle. I mean, it went up and then across the railroad and then back down the other side. Literally, it was just like a pyramid, sort of. And there was a railroad crossing right at the top of that, at the top. And that was the only way you could get to their house unless you came very long way around, came in the back roads and figured out, well, they lived on a back road, but so there's even more back road. But something happened one night. His car failed, or he was drinking maybe, or something. Anyway, he got hit by the train at the railroad crossing at the top of the hill. Didn't kill him. He survived. I guess it destroyed his car. Coal mining trains used to roll through there constantly, night and day, out of the coal fields in Virginia. But anyway, so she got on a letter writing campaign to, by God, get a automated gate and flashing lights and all that kind of stuff put in at the crossing. And within, I don't know, a month or so or two, she had one. She was pretty good at that. Same uncle, I probably told this story before, but the same uncle was at the state, lived in the dormitory at Mountain Home, which is a retired veterans home for. They had a big hospital there, and of course the National Cemetery is there. But they also had dormitories for old vets that didn't have any place else to go, more or less. And they built a new facility for them, a new dorm and a new part attached to the hospital. And when they did that, it was when they were passing all the no smoking rules in public buildings and stuff, so they didn't have a smoking area. And of course, he smoked like a freight train. And the local congressman, U.S. congressman, was there one day, glad handing everybody bragging about. And of course, the building was named after him. And he was coming through the line there, glad handing all the vets and whatever. They got to my Uncle Afton, and he said, "How are you doing, sir, Mr. Sensible? How are things? How do you like things in this fine new building we got you here?" And he said, "Well, I'll tell you right now," he said, and pardon my language, he said, "I don't like them worth a damn." He said, "You guys built this place and you didn't give us a smoking area." He said, "I started smoking because you SOBs put cigarettes in my C rations when I was in World War II, and now you won't let me smoke." And he just, made a little scene, and then I guess he moved on. And not too long after that, they actually got a smoking area. He didn't hang around long. He left again. I guess he said his Merry Christmas and goodbye. Meowie Catmus. Anyway, they were an interesting family, to say the least. Yeah, it is, Tina. It's a really neat place, and it's one of the older big national cemeteries, of course, outside of something like Arlington and some of those, but it's a huge place. And my dad and mother are both buried there. Brenda's dad is buried there, and I guess Brenda's mom will be buried there, unless she's changed her mind. But yeah, I've got a couple of uncles buried there, and I know I could have had at least one grandfather buried there, but he chose to be buried in the family plot near home. And but it's interesting how it works. But it's a gorgeous place. Growing up, as a Boy Scout growing up, we used to go there. They'd let us go over there and camp on the grounds for Memorial Day weekend. And the whole point was, they had strict regulations too. We couldn't make any marks on the grass. We couldn't dig a hole. We couldn't do anything. We had to only cook on charcoal. It was interesting. But we went there every year to put up flags, and the Sunday before Memorial Day, back when it was always on a Monday or whatever, the Boy Scouts would march through cemetery and put up the American flags on all the graves. They do that today, but this was back in the '60s, and we did that, and um, it was. I know it fascinated me. And they've expanded, unfortunately, I guess I'd have to say. But mom, when dad was buried there, he was in. Or mom originally, she beat dad there, and they were in a brand new section they just opened up in Mountain Home. So yeah, it's been around for a while, Tina, and I think it is pretty famous. It's a beautiful campus. I mean, it's always had these really neat old buildings and giant, big, huge trees on it, and of course, lots of green grass and lots of squirrels. That's the place you won't remember this, Brenda might. That was the place there was an article in the paper when I was growing up, probably in high school, about a squirrel that had been adopted, or not a squirrel, but a cat that had been adopted by a family of squirrels. And the photographer went out and took pictures, and that cat would climb up and down the trees just like a squirrel, and which means they came down head first. They'd go up head first and come down head first. Cats back down a tree. That's why most of them don't like to come down. They won't come down head first because their paws don't turn. The squirrel's paws will turn around so they can go up and down about the same to them either way. But that little kitten had learned to go up and down a tree head first, um, because she grew up around other little squirrels, I reckon. Yeah, Tina or Carol just hung around to see if Teddy was going to show up. I forgot about that, Brenda. That's true. I forgot all about that. Well, guys, I've made it till 9:22. I'm going to start shutting down. My behind parts are sore, and I'm going to let everybody go and make ready for all your festivities and howdy doos. Well, you got a point there, Tina. Uh, the rest of my week, Mike, I'm after tomorrow. Well, after tonight, we don't have anything planned. I don't think. I was trying to think what we did have next week. If we were doing anything in particular, might depend on what the weather does now. But we really don't have any New Year's plans that I'm aware of. How about you guys? You do. You guys do Boxing Day, don't you? Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. We didn't do that back when I was decorating, doing that with the at Mountain Home. Is that a big shopping day for you guys, Mike, or is that a the day after Christmas down here is usually a big returns day. Well, that'll be fun. I'm like you. I believe I'd stay away. Okay, guys, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to pull the plug. Everybody have a great week and be safe out there if you're traveling, especially if the weather's bad. And if you're going to be out on the road and it's cold like it is right now, then pack a couple of blankets in your car and maybe take something to snack on, some water, because you just never know where you might end up parking for the night. And if it's snowing, just stay in if you can. Who knows? I mean, why get out and take a chance? But okay, Mike, we'll do that. I'll let you know, buddy. We'll be around all week, so we'll do that. Anyway, that's about all I got today. So, Merry Christmas to everybody, and hope Santa's good to you. And if he's not good to you, Mike, we know why. So you might want to go get your own donut. Oh, there's Ian. Good morning, Ian. Well, good to see you, Ian, because we were talking about you. Your ears burning. We were kind of concerned you hadn't been on in a while. We're just getting ready to sign off. I'll have to tell Mark you came by. Well, that's what I was worried about, that you might have been sick. I see him, Tina. I see him. Well, I hope you're feeling better. I'm glad you thought of us and popped in. I hope you're, like I said, I hope you're feeling better and you're on the right track to get better. Well, I was just starting to wind up and say bye, Ian, so I guess I'm going to have to keep doing it because, once I start that process, the fuse is burning. Yeah, we were. But I'm glad you got to stop in for a minute. And always good to see you, buddy. I'll tell Mark you came by too. He was wondering if I'd seen you lately. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm sure we've got some other friends on streaming from Disney World or somewhere today. So go have a fun day with those guys, and I'll probably see some of you around on one of the chats somewhere today, at least for a few minutes. Bye bye, everybody. Merry Christmas.